Yeah, and to
Mhm.
go on
Yeah.
top of that, I now that since you both mentioned holes in your stomachs, I don't have a stomach lining because that's how much ibuprofen, how much Tylenol I took. It completely destroyed my stomach
Oh
lining.
man.
Stomach lining more, so it's doable. It just I gotta be careful. Spicy foods gets the worst of it. So I gotta be careful when it comes to like hot sauces and salsa and Mexican food and it's sad because I love spice. I
And
do
Mexican food's the best food.
I know Mexican food and
Mhm.
Cajun food, so I just have to be like be very careful on like what spices I can have, because some there'll be days where I'll be eating and it would just upset my stomach, and I'm like, oh, that was not a good spicy food to eat because it just won't digest spicy food. So I'm lucky that it's only like just a stomach lining and just gotta be kind of wary on spicy foods. But I can't imagine a hole in my stomach and going to the restroom and seeing blood. Like that would like freak me out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know I would, if I was in that situation too, I would be like, oh, like, I would definitely just be scared and definitely want to turn my life around for the better for sure.
Yeah.
So we kind of already kind of touched base on this, but my next question is in regards to like loved ones. So like, in what ways does drugs affect not only the person using, but the loved ones that are like surrounding this person or like involved with this person that is using drugs?
Well, I know, like in my experience, um I actually have an aunt who is addicted to prescription medication like pain medicine and stuff like that. And nobody in our family can trust her. We know for a fact that she has stolen medicine from my great grandparents when she was supposed to be helping them keep their medication straight because, great grandparents, they're older, and like when I say older, I mean like late 80s, early 90s. And m- my family had to completely remove her from being able to help them in that way, even though she loves them. But it's because we found out that she was taking their medication that they need for, like my great grandfather, which he has passed away now. But he was in World War II. And then, so he had battle scars, physical and mental ones. And if he didn't have his medicine, just to help him get through the day, I mean, sometimes he just couldn't move because of the pain. Um, and then my great grandmother, she has back problems. Back problems actually runs in my family. My mom has degenerative disc in her back. Her dad had degenerative disc in his back. My grandmother, my mom's mom, has back issues. And then my great grandmother is actually my mom's mom. She has back problems, and so that's why she has the medicine that she's been prescribed. And when she doesn't have that, she can't hardly function. And so nobody in our family is able to trust my aunt. My mom is on medication for nerve. My mom has nerve damage in her back. From the degenerative disc in her back. And we have to, my aunt's not allowed to come to our house unless it's at big family gatherings. Like we found out that because small town, we used to not lock our doors, our back door, it used to stay open all the time. That's just the way it is in our community. We were never scared. We'd lock it at night when we'd go to bed, but we didn't think anything about locking it during the day. But my grandmother on my dad's mom lives next door to us, and we found she actually told my dad, "Hey, I've noticed that um my aunt had been coming over there a good bit." And my dad was like, he told my mom, and mom said, "Oh, that makes sense because I haven't been able to find my medicine for the nerve pain." And so our family just really can't trust her. We love her, we want to do everything we can to help her, but she is not to a point where she wants to help herself yet. And I mean, it's really taken a toll on our family because you have some family members who are just so frustrated with her that they just don't want anything to do with her, and then you have some who don't really want to help her, but they don't like dislike her or whatever, but they don't mind running their mouths about her. And, then you have the other family members who want to be completely oblivious to what's, they want to completely deny what she's been doing and say that she hasn't been doing those things, that we're just accusing her of these things, even though we have legitimate proof. So it's kind of torn our family apart a little bit, in certain ways. Yeah, it's just it's really hard for family to deal with in that situation. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
um, yeah, to just kind of piggyback, I guess, off of Caitlyn, it is hard to trust and it is frustrating. I know, um, personally, with me and other people um, who wanted to help me, um, got a lot of frustrated with me because it's like you want the help. I mean, I guess it goes on a case by case basis. I was willing to want the help, but I wasn't willing to put in the work or the effort per se.
Mhm.
So, and that takes a toll because you have people, very loving people, who would take you to AA or to Celebrate Recovery or whatever, and you go for a couple meetings, but you don't you don't take part of it, so you just keep going back to your old ways. So that's the biggest, I think, hardest thing for fans and family is just like it's frustrating. No matter how much you love them or how much you want to see them get better, you also just can't force people to do things.
Mhm.
They have to want to make. They have to want to do it. I'm so sorry.
Mhm.
This is so bad. Um, but if they don't want to do it, they're not gonna do it. So
Yeah.
you can't really force them, even though you can show them, hey, this is what happens. Hey, as with your aunt, you'd be like, hey, we can't have you at our house anymore. So you would think that might have changed your mindset. It's like, well, I want to see my family, but sometimes it doesn't hit or click that
Yeah.
way. So it's hard when people refuse help, and I have been on that end of the spectrum of refusing help.
Yeah, I know, for us, she doesn't want to admit she has a problem. And she started having a problem. She had a really bad car accident when I was in middle school. Um, and she was in so much pain all the time. And then that's just where it stemmed from, was from that. And, you know, she'll go for a while, and it's like you can tell when she hasn't had anything for a while. You can tell when she's sober because she's clear-headed and she's the same old person, funny, goofy, fun to hang around with. But then you can also tell when she's on stuff because she's just very blah. She's always tired, and she can't hold a job because of her issues. Like, she'll get one for a while, and then, and she'll be clean, she'll be sober, and like I'll be so proud of her. And then next thing you know, she's like, oh well, my back was hurting, so I took this. And we're like, and the next thing, because if she we know if she take and she knows if she takes one, it's just gonna spiral. But it she keeps saying she doesn't have a problem, and she just can't see it yet, I don't think.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to definitely hear about that. I definitely can relate to that in a way because I'm not going to personally say who it is, but I do have a couple of family members that are no longer here with us, but they both went through like drug problems, and it kind of led to both of them taking their own life. So I could definitely relate to this in a way, and so it definitely does affect families for sure, to where even to this day, even though these both of these situations happened years ago, it's still something that still like emotionally affects certain family members, especially ones that are like, I guess, the mom of this family member, or the parents. So it definitely emotionally affects people, when you take drugs, and also just like y'all were both saying, it leads to frustration just because you want to see them win, and they just keep on like falling into that same trap. And then you're just thinking like, oh my gosh, like why? Like we want to see you get through this and overcome it. And it definitely, I mean, I know I have not been in that place where like a drug user or anything like that, but it definitely sounds like it's a real strong battle, that you go through. So it's definitely something that, can be frustrating, for the loved ones to watch, because we may not realize it, because we may think it's easy, just stop using it. That's all you should do. But for the drug user, it's harder, it's easier said than done, because there comes like the idea of like the withdrawals that come with that.
Yeah.
And there's even side effects out of that too. So it definitely can be just frustrating on our end, but it definitely it puts things in perspective, I guess, when it comes to trying to work on our own patience, and like trying to show that unconditional love, even if it has to be from a distance due to not having trust in somebody, because that is kind of how it got to be for a couple of those family members, to where we couldn't fully trust that family member. So like kind of like Caitlyn said, it kind of they could be around in big group settings, but when it's a more intimate setting, that trust is kind of like not there for that to happen. So
Yeah.
just because we may have stuff like ibuprofen, or like melatonin, or something like that. So you just never know what people could do, what risk that they will take, whether they will steal something. So it did lead to a lot of broken trust and frustration for sure on our end.
And
Um,
speaking to the withdrawal things that you brought up, before I started working at the pharmacy, I didn't understand as much as I do now, having like working in that every day and seeing that, there are so many medications where they tell you don't stop this cold turkey, you have to wean off of it. And seeing people who have just stopped taking medicines, whether it be pain medicine or anxiety medicine or depression medicine, or things like that, watching people go from nor like nor what normal's called relative, but a normal attitude, to all of a sudden they're acting crazy and they're acting erratic, and it's because they're having these terrible withdrawals because they did not wean themselves off the medication. you know Before that, I just always was like, I don't understand why she can't just stop. I don't understand why she can't just stop. But, working in it and seeing that how a body can be affected, how a mind can be affected when you just go from taking something so much to just stopping it, it really gave me a different perspective and gave me a different kind of compassion for her, because I used to be one of those family members who was like, I'm done. I'm done. That's it. I'm out. Like, and part of that's because I used to be so close to her, and it really just hurt me to see it. It was like she just didn't care about our family, but it's not that. It's that she has a problem and she needs help. She just doesn't see she needs help yet.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just coming from the addict side. It doesn't happen overnight. It really, it's 100% doesn't. It took me, gosh. So it was like 2020 when I finally decided to take it seriously. But even then, it was like a good 6 7 months for me to just kind of wean off it. Which is I don't know how fast that is. I know some people wean off is a little bit more longer. Mine took about 7 months, but you just can't expect it to take all the pills away and then say, okay, no more pills, because guess what? They're gonna go back out and buy some more. That happened to
Exactly.
people. People would take away pills, alcohol, knives, and I was like, okay, well, I could just walk across the street to Walmart and buy more. That's not gonna stop me. Um,
Yeah.
so it's hard, especially for me who knew I had a problem, but I just didn't care. So you just kind of take more and more, but it's definitely not. an overnight thing, or it's not, um, you know, and it's hard because you want to communicate about like I'm struggling, and then you have family members who just be like, just don't take it. It's that simple, and it's like it's not that simple because it's still almost a daily struggle for me. I'm still doing good, but it's still a daily, just every day, just like I think about it. I was like, no, Alex, don't do it. I'll be walking and be walking at Walmart in the medicine, be looking for vitamins, and then I turn my back and then I'll see the ibuprofen. I was like, ooh, and I'm like, no,